Suppression of anger is morally dangerous. Explain. A Poison Tree is a poem written by William Blake, which was published in 1794. The overall poem is about suppressing anger and the consequences faced when it is not expressed properly. The whole poem is in first person narration as the speaker is a participant of the poem and he is the person who suppresses anger within himself. The speaker uses simple language to explain two different approaches of anger. Suppressing anger leads to pain, dissatisfaction, unhappiness, and finally to take revenge. The first aspect of the poem is expressing anger to his friend where there is a mutual understanding. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath. My wrath did end. Expresses that the speaker is angry with his friend, expresses simply and puts that conflict to an end. Here, there is a strong match with his friend. But in contrast, the next two lines I was angry with my foe. I told it not. My wrath did grow, states that when he is angry with his enemy, he didn't speak openly, so the anger grows. This action of the speaker makes him more aggressive in future. The reason for the contrast actions of the speaker is there is always a mutual understanding with friends and not with enemies. We don't suppress our emotions with our friends because we trust our friends with true emotions and share our feelings, but we don't trust our enemies. Keeping anger within heart is more dangerous. If there is an issue or problem with a person, we have to speak to the particular person frankly. The speaker says how people fail to communicate their anger and which leads to destruction. In the title, the word poison indicates that suppression of anger is extremely dangerous. People have to speak with others frankly in order to sort out the problem, or else it will create misunderstanding. There are multiple layers of misunderstanding and conflict which are unknown in this poem. Suppressing anger leads to conflict. To avoid conflict, we have to speak openly. Bottling up emotions, especially anger, is very dangerous, and once it will blast with hurting words. Rather than suppressing emotions, they should be expressed. The poem deeply explores the reactions and perceptions of suppressing anger. The poet is trying to convey that suppressing anger is morally dangerous because it turns him to a cruel person and triggers him to do illegal activities. The poem highlights that the anger makes him feel good. He feeds his anger with fears and tears and develops. Due to this, he expresses false or fake smile to his enemy. He wears a mask of smile to hide his true vengeance. Deceitful wiles states the cunning strategies followed by the speaker to enemy. By these actions, the speaker makes his anger grow further. To enhance the moral of the poet uses extended metaphor and compares anger to a tree. Anger is an emotion which is morally dangerous. Killing others due to anger is morally incorrect. An apple bright portrays extreme vengeance towards enemy. The apple which grows from a poison tree is dangerous to consume. That apple was stolen by his enemy, which was full of suppressed anger. Here, the enemy becomes the victim and killed by the arrogant speaker. He doesn't regret killing the enemy. In the line, in the morning glad I see, speaker enjoys the victory of enemy's death. All the emotions, including anger, should be expressed in a proper way without hiding. Suppressing anger creates a circle of negativity and violence, which is morally dangerous. If we speak honestly and frankly, anger disappears. If we don't speak frankly, we have to face negative consequences. Violence, hatred, killing, and harming are results of anger. Finding happiness in others' sorrow is an abnormal characteristic of the speaker, which is too an immoral action. Listening to the conversation, speaking frankly, expressing emotions, and sorting out the issues are good practices to avoid morally dangerous consequences.
How does William Blake show that anger grow into poisonous hatred when it not communicated properly with the concerned party? The Poison Tree is a poem by William Blake. He lived in a long time ago in the 1700 years ago in London, in England. He was an English poet, painter, and printmaker. He often writes and draws about good versus bad, and freedom versus being controlled, and also the power of the human spirit. Although William Blake's life and works is complex, this base point offering a starting point for understanding the creative mind behind a poison tree. In the poem A Poison Tree, William Blake used a powerful image to show how anger became something harmful and dangerous. The poem starts with the speaker's feeling angry, like a tiny seed of angry has been planted. Just imagine, angry like a tiny seed. If we are angry with our friend and we talk about it, it looks like that seed is out into the open air. It may feel like a little uncomfortable, but eventually it disappears and the anger goes away. But when we keep it hidden from our enemy, it like watering the angry seed, making it grow where roots are deeply inside. William Blake compared this to planting the seed in the darkness and secretly taking care of it. Instead of fresh air and sunlight, we are giving it our tears and fears, making it grow bigger and stronger. This seed turned into a poisonous tree with a bad fruit, represents how our anger becomes something much more powerful and ugly when it's hidden from others. The bad seed or bad fruit, hidden anger poisons the speaker's thoughts and actions. They might say unkind things or even try to hurt the person we are angry with. Just like eating fruit from the poison tree could make someone sick, this tree starts to poison our thoughts and feelings. We might be angry with even things we don't actually want to happen. This is how the hate starts to grow, and it can completely change how we see ourselves and the world. This poem teaches us that it's okay to feel angry, but bottling it up can cause it to twist into something toxic. He suggests that open communication and honesty are a healthy way to deal with our hunger before it hurts ourselves and others. And also, this poem's message is that holding our hungry without talking about it can be deeply harmful. It's like choosing to plant a bad seed and then letting it grow into something that might hurt ourselves or the person we are angry with. William Blake wants to understand that communication, even though it can be difficult at some times, is an important way to keep anger from turning into a poisonous tree.
A Poison Tree is a poem written by William Blake and published it in 1794. Main theme of this poem is there are two different approaches to anger. It tells us what are the benefits by talking openly, and if we don't do it, what are the dangers we have to face. Whatever we have within our heart, we have to say, we have to clearly speak about it. Otherwise, it is an extremely dangerous thing to us. It will cause a lot of problems to us. This poem indicates about benefit of speaking frankly and advantages of keep it in within our heart, disadvantages. Whenever we have misunderstanding, we have to speak openly in order to get rid of that misunderstanding. Otherwise, the anger will grow towards that particular person. Once, if we have misunderstanding, it will create conflicts. In order to avoid it, we have to do one thing, that is, we have to make open conversation. This poem speaks about conflicts as well. Normally, we do not share similar interests to every person, but we share similar interests and we share everything with our friends. And we have mutual understanding within our friends because we speak frankly with them. If we want to have healthy relationship, we must speak honestly. Then it will become a best companionship. Mutual understanding comes from that. In order to avoid misunderstanding, we have to speak and listen as well. Those are good practices to have healthy relationship. This poem has powerful argument against suppression of anger. Our anger will disappear when we speak honestly. If we don't speak like that, we have to face negative consequences in the future of us. All of the humans' emotions should be expressed in a proper way. Otherwise, it will create circle of negativity and violence. This poem has been narrated as a first person narration. That means the speaker is the participant of that incident. It is one of the technique. And another technique is used here, that is repetition. Writer use this to emphasize the feeling my wrath, my wrath. We have misunderstanding when we have dissatisfaction, inconvenience, and disappointment. If we have any one of them, we become angry. It is a natural action of human. Love and anger, all are natural emotions. In the poem, speaker does not speak to his enemy openly. Thus, his anger is being further developed. It is an unfortunate experience. In the first stanza, there are two scenarios. One is anger towards his friend, another one is anger towards his enemy. Normally, we do not speak with enemy because we have fear. Because of that, we never try to speak with them as well. Fear is the water to develop anger within our heart. Because of the fear and worries, there are some thoughts which will appear to take revenge. Speaker use conjunction and to connect the idea which is being delivered by him. Also, he uses that to tell cause and effect. Not speaking openly is a cause, and the result are violence, hate and revenge. Speaker at the night time, secretly, without knowledge of his enemy, he hits his enemy with a pole and attack in order to take revenge on his some action. Speaker says, death of the enemy brings happiness to him. It is a worst feeling even though he is smiling. Every person is not bad one, but anger turns a man into cruel person. That's why speaker without any knowledge killed his enemy in order to get little happiness. In the morning, glad I see. Here, word order is changed. When a word order has been changed, it is called as a inversion. It is a technique is used by speaker to convey his ideas to readers. Growth of the anger tree is growth of the anger growth of the tree is reflecting growth of anger. It is an extant metaphor. It is also another technique to tell every thoughts of him easily to the reader. Repetitions, metaphor, inversion, and first person narration are techniques which are used here.